Now imagine that as a CEO of a startup, I created this game and it became very popular. In just the first 2 weeks, I got 200,000 users, and I'm now thinking of monetizing it. And to do that, of course, what I'm going to do, the first thing that comes to my mind is that I'm going to add new features to the game that makes the game available to a larger audience. So one obvious thing is to internationalize it. So let me show you what I mean by that. As you can see from this example, we are using English, right? And the first thing we could think about doing is try to have the game uh, in other languages, so Spanish, French, any other languages. And yeah, so to do this, typically you are going to try to get, you are first going to think about architecture, um, and you realize that you need to start thinking about database. Why is that? Because right in this very simple game, we put all the dictionary of the language in the front-end application, and that's something that we are not going to be. It's not going to be scalable, um, because you would have to load in the app a given number of languages. Imagine, I don't know, if you want 15 languages, then that means you need to have 15 different dictionaries, all of them loaded um, in the application. And that would mean that the application would grow bigger, then it would load slower, and then it would impact user experience. It's also less maintainable to do it this way. So for all this reason, you decide to store the words of the language in a database, and you decide to have an API that is going to query the database, and when the user loads the app and picks a language, then you call the API to return the list of the words of the language. But it's not all. You also need to think about localizing this menu, and generally speaking, any kind of text that you have that would be in English. This has to become also in another language. And it's still not all. You also have to think that probably this keyboard can have a different layout. If you're going to have different languages, and that means that these users are going to use different keyboards. So you would like to associate a set of keyboard to a specific language. So all of this information is going to be now in the database. That gives us a lot of flexibility to have it in a remote place. Otherwise, all of this I would need to keep in the front-end application. So for this reason, you are going to move to a 3-tier app that is made of 3 modules: the front end, the API, and the database. So that's typically an architect problem or a design problem of your software application. You just decided to have 3 modules, and what we are going to show you now is how you can implement those 3 modules in CodeNow with one single CodeNow application that holds these 3 modules. The front end is still going to be React and JavaScript. The API is going to be .NET, and the database will be Postgre. You could, of course, make other choices. This is a great part about having modular development. The module for the API, you could decide instead of .NET, you could do Java, you could do JavaScript, you could use Python, whatever. You can use any language you want. CodeNow currently allow you to use any language, but we have scaffolder already made for Java, for .NET, for C#, and coming soon for JavaScript as well.